different gifts to make us wise in the Spirit together. Weak by yourselves, but wise together. My friends, no other entity on the face of the earth possesses this unique commonality. But I remind you, it is a commonality that we have, not a uniformity. Because when we get to this, later in this passage, later in the month, next week perhaps, or the week after, God willing, we will hear Paul asking, is the whole body an ear? No. Is the whole body a nose? No. We are all different. It's a commonality we share, but not a uniformity. What that means is that we must not pressure other people to believe what we believe. When I stand in this pulpit, you can take it or leave it. Leave me and my big mouth and let the Spirit let the Spirit interpret whatever it is. And I'm not going to come here and lie to you, and I'm not going to come here and tell you just things that please me. Everything I say, I try to locate it in the scriptures. But don't get mad with me if there's something you don't like. Let's stay together. And similarly, when we sit in meetings, don't try to browbeat everybody else to come around to your side. Let's listen to the Spirit together. That's how God works. In this unique commonality, I want to remind you as we close, we are uniquely validated because every member shares the validation of God's Spirit. We are uniquely connected because all of us are given many different gifts that are meant to be tied together. In this unique community, we are uniquely supported because we are meant to be interdependent. In this unique community, we are uniquely enlightened because God gives gifts of wisdom and knowledge and interpretation to many. And why are we given this unique commonality? We are given it so that we might do unique work and so that we might do unique witness. What's the unique witness? The unique witness that no one else can do is that we have seen Jesus and we know Jesus. And what we have seen, as John says when he begins his first letter, what we have seen with our eyes, what we have handled with our hands, that we declare to you. And our fellowship is with God, and so we want you to fellowship with us. The unique witness is that we tell the world of the Jesus we see. And not everybody who says they've seen Jesus see what we see. We've just got to plod on and tell them what we see. We see a Jesus. I said to one of the gatherings this past week, what if we interpreted the entire Gospel of Luke not through the eyes of salvation and heaven and all of that, but through the eyes of what Jesus declares at the very beginning of his ministry in Luke 4. The idea of jubilee, justice. What if we interpreted all of the Gospel of Luke through the lenses of justice? How would we understand the story of the Good Samaritan if we thought about justice rather than heaven? How would we interpret the story of Jesus going to Mary and Martha's house, where Martha is busy in the kitchen and she wants her sister to come back comes out and says, Jesus, tell my sister to get up from among the men listening and learning and get back to the kitchen where she belongs? How would we interpret that if we thought of it through the lens? Look, the time is gone. We have a unique witness to bear and we have a unique work to do. And the work is a work of justice. And the justice is nothing if it is not love. Alan Bosak said that we've got to learn how to not just say, but to let it mean justice whenever we say Jesus. Too many people think heaven when they hear Jesus. They need to hear and see in us justice. For we can't talk about heaven when there are people who lack justice. One of the things I told them, and I'll get out of your way now, is that when I was a black, I'm still black, when I was a child in the Caribbean, white American missionaries, one of whom served as my pastor, many of whom served in various ways back in Trinidad, told me they loved me. I believed it. I was growing up in the Caribbean in the 60s. At the same time, those white American missionaries were telling me they loved me. They came from many places, including Alabama. And they were living here, their relatives and their church that sent them were living in this country. Not loving the people who were being bitten by the dogs, the people who were being hosed by the fire hose, the people who were being separated and told they were equal but they had to stay separated, the people who had to fight for their lives and their rights. No justice, no Jesus. Don't tell me about Jesus without justice. Don't tell anybody about Jesus without justice. And in America, it might not be only just white, black, but now there is an assault on women, an assault on women of all kinds, an assault on our daughters, an assault on people who love differences. And we have got to bring a different perspective of Jesus to them. And it is the perspective of love. I don't know how people could be rich and serve in the United States Congress and not care about the poor and not care about justice. And people like you and me still vote them into office. This is a good time to end. And I will end abruptly by just saying, let us who say Jesus go out and say justice if we really mean Jesus. Amen.